Okay, guys, so welcome back. So you might have caught the random giveaway I done earlier. Hopefully you did. If you haven't, check that out. If you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, why you're not a subscriber? Like, subscribe, all that stuff on this video. Thanks very much. Keep supporting the channel. So we're back with Enhancement Shaman now. So we're going to be looking at a few possible items that you can get in every slot before stepping into Karazhan. Some are going to be expensive, they'll be craftables, some will be quest items. If there's a particularly good green item that will carry you into Karazhan, we'll look at all of these. So I've picked 3 items for each slot. So we'll go straight in with the head. So we're going to assume you're an engineer. If you're an engineer, you want to make the engineering head. Why? Obviously, you get a meta gem socket early. It stays relevant throughout the entire expansion because you actually get to upgrade it to a better version as well later on in the game. So that's really good. There's no reason not to make the engineering head if you're an engineer. It's probably why you're engineering, to be fair. If you're not engineering, you can get the Helm of Desolation, which is from Black Morass. So this is really good as well. You know, the 2-set bonus particularly. The 4-set's nice, but you can quite easily get the 2-set bonus in your pre-Karazhan gear. So really, really nice. No reason not to. And a side note on that, obviously we're going to get to trinkets, but you'll be probably farming for the hourglass trinket as well, and this drops in the same place. So, you know, you've got a chance at getting 2 items. Why not? Then the last one is from a quest, so the Terran Gorfiend quest line. It's nice. It's not Helm of Desolation or the Engineering Head, but a good alternative. So if you've been unlucky and you've never seen it drop in Black Morass, the Desolation Helmet, or if you're not an engineer, then this is a good alternative. Comes from a quest line. It's quite easy. These quest line items, I'm actually going to do a series of blue quest videos, basically, but that's quite a way away yet, obviously. So we're going to assume our orc on screen, stood there ready to fight, is an engineer, and we're going to put the Sure Strike goggles on him. So first one, Choker of Vile Intent, not a lot to talk about there. 25 badges of justice. It's going to be the best you can get before you get into Karazhan, but those badges will be spent elsewhere a lot better to begin with. But you might farm loads of badges, get enough before you go in Karazhan. Maybe your guild's a bit of a late bloomer and it takes you a few weeks to get into Karazhan, in which case you have plenty of time to get this neck as well as the other item that I'm referring to. The second option is a really nice one, actually. So it's Natasha's Choker. So it just starts from a quest in Blade's Edge Mountains. The quest chain is worth doing anyway because it gives about 2k scenario and expedition rep. So if you want to get exalted with those guys, or want a boost into getting revered, it's a good way to get a quick couple of k. It just starts in Blade's Edge Mountains, and you have to go and pick up a damaged mask or something like that in the northeastern section. And then it starts this quest chain, about 8 or 9 steps in it, and then it leads to a nice neck for pretty much every class. So quite easily obtainable. And then lastly, we've got the Traitor's Noose, which is from Heroic Slave Pens. So it's decent, it's an alternative. I would go for the Badges of Justice ultimately, obviously, and then the Natasha's Choker would be second. But if you don't fancy doing the quest line for whatever reason, you might be lazy, and you haven't got any Badges of Justice, then you can absolutely go and pick up Traitor's Noose. But that's Heroic Slave Pens. I think you probably have an easier time getting one of the others first. So yeah, that's next. When I do the stats at the end, which was actually, this is going to be an addition requested by a member of the community. So he asked to see what the total stats are in the gear set, so I'll be adding that. So the stats that will be applied to the character is going to be assuming that you've got Choker of Vile Intent for this one. So for shoulders, quite an interesting one. So you've got the Shalassi Sentries Epaulets. So these are actually from a quest in Terrakar. So you might want to look the quest up, put it on your list of things to do when you're leveling, because they're lovely. You'll definitely be fine going into Karazhan with these. They're probably the best you're going to get to go into Karazhan with. So, and especially for how easily obtainable they're going to be. But for some reason, if you don't want to use these, you are going to have a bit of a harder time getting a pair of shoulders. But you can get the ones from Steam Vaults. So the Beast Lord Mantle. If there's a hunter in the group, he'll probably hate you and never speak to you again. But these are actually very, very nice for an Enhancement Shaman as well. So you could consider these. And then the one sort of set that's going to keep turning up over and over in this video is the Pauldrons of Desolation, or the Desolation set in general. So you could, if you got the Desolation Helm, then you may get this to get the 2-set bonus. It's a nice hit bonus. That's the only downside really about the Beast Lord Mantle is the lack of hit. But yeah, ultimately you would just want to go to Terracar and get the quest shoulders because they are really nice. And that's what we're going to equip on our orc. So then cape. So you got Vengeance Wrap, which is made by Taylor. Really, really nice. We're going to put that on a character because it's pretty much the best that you're going to get, and obviously it's a BOE, so you'll be able to buy it or work with a tailor in your guild or something to get this. Then you've got the Cloak of Darkness, which is sort of similar but leather working. The tailoring one's still better, but there's not that much difference. So really go for whichever one is easiest for you to get. Maybe if you've got a leather working friend, go for the leather working one. And then lastly, the one from Heroic, Orkanite Crypts, which... it's good, yeah. It's perfect, perfect alternative, but definitely harder to obtain than just trying to get one of the crafted ones. So we're gonna put the Vengeance Wrap on our orc anyway and see what he looks like. Okay, yeah, not looking too bad. So then moving on to the chest. So if you're a leather worker and you're specifically a dragon scale leather worker, you can make the Eben Never Scale breastplate, or the Eben Never Scale set in general. You wouldn't make one without getting all three, because once you get all three, you get the hit bonus, which is very nice. A very nice set bonus. It's a very nice set bonus to say that each individual piece on its own is very strong anyway. There are certain items that on an individual basis may come ahead just a little bit, but if you're a leather worker, you're obviously going to make the set. That's probably one of the reasons why you're leather working, other than for drums and maybe leg chance. But that's very nice. An alternative you can get from which is a BOE, still leather working, craftable, but it's a BOE, so you can buy it from a leather working friend if you're not leather working, which is the Fellstalker breastplate. Basically a lower tier version of the even Never Scale. But even the pieces on their own are nice, but you won't benefit from the set bonus. So something worth bearing in mind. It's not a big deal, if you're just trying to replace a rubbish piece of gear that you've got before you go into Karazhan, just get one of these pieces. All of them on their own are nice, but ultimately, you are going to lose out on that set bonus. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then obviously I'm going to put the Desolation piece on here again. So this time it's the chest of Desolation. So this now gives you, this is another opportunity slot where you can get the 2 set. Maybe you even rock the 4 set. The 4 set's perfectly fine. But, it's another slot where you could possibly get the 2 set bonus at least, which would be very nice as well. And this drops from Old Hillsbred Foothills, which, to be fair, there's quite a lot of items just in that one place. But we're gonna say our guy is engineering leatherworking. So we've got the engineering head. He's now going to start equipping the Eben Never Scale set. So it's quite funny, actually. I've had comments about, going 2 primary professions, which, I'll be honest with you, back in the day, through TBC, RAF, all of those, I don't remember ever playing without 2 primary professions. I mean, even in Classic, I play with 2 primary professions. It's the best way to get the most out of your character, generally, apart from maybe in retail, where professions don't really mean a great deal. But, yeah, it's not unreasonable to assume you're going to get 2 primary professions, just in case you were thinking, well, why am I leather working engineering? If you want to get the most out of your character, you will be 2 professions. So bracers anyway, fairly easy. We're going to go for the Eben Never Scale bracers because we're going to make the full set. But then you have got the Fell Stalker bracers, which are, again is part of the set that we were talking about a second ago on the chest plate. And then the Golden Link bracers. So they're just from securing the Celestial Ridge and Neverstorm quest. Fairly easy, comparable to some blue heroic bracers, to be fair. So I wouldn't feel bad, going into Karazhan wearing them. There's nothing wrong with them at all. So you might want to make sure you get that quest done when you're leveling up. You probably will anyway. But we're going to obviously go with the Eben Never Scale bracers this time round. Okay, so then for the hands, we've got the Windstrike gloves, which are very good leather working BOE. So again, call on that leather worker, or if you're a leather worker yourself, get them made because they're very, very nice. They've got all the desirable stats on that you would want. There's not really a lot to say about that. And then we've got the Desolation Gauntlets. So these are, again, this is so you can try and get your 2 set or 4 set because they're very nice for Enhancement Shamans. So yeah, try and get hold of these if you don't want to invest in the leather working gloves that you're going to replace for tier 4 or whatever. So the Desolation gloves are a good option, and they're only from Shattered Halls. And the good thing is, actually, the Beast Lord handguards are in Shattered Halls as well and drop off the same boss. I mean, you're going to annoy your hunters, but who cares about hunters anyway? So, yeah, you've got, of one boss, you've got two chances of getting a decent pair of gloves, both that you could go into Karazhan with. So, quite lucky, really, there. But, obviously, in this, in this circumstance for our shaman here, we're going to put on the Windstrike gloves. So again, belt's going to be very easy. Obviously, we've already made 2 pieces of gear, so of course we're going to make the third. So we're going to go for the belt, the Eben Neverscale belt. Don't need to talk about that. We know about that set already. Same for the Fellstalker belt. Again, it's just a lesser version than the Neverscale belt, so it's another good option. Both crafted by Level Working. And then the Runing Grave belt. So I put this on. So this quest shows up quite a lot in these videos already, to be fair. So it's the Fell Embers quest for Shattered Halls. I'm limiting the Horde options here because it is actually an Alliance-only quest, which a guy did mention. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he mentioned that it was an Alliance-only quest, and I said that it was both. And I apologise to you. You're absolutely correct. It is Alliance only. I looked on loads of databases and it was showing an alternative Horde quest for the same item. It was showing that it was for both factions, and I was checking a lot of them. But, in fact, having tried it now myself, you were right. Yeah, it is Alliance only. But this belt's too good to just say, oh, because, Horde can't get it, it's not worth mentioning. It is worth mentioning. It's pretty much the best enhancement belt you're going to get outside of a crafted one. So there are Horde alternatives, but you have to go and find them. I'm Alliance, I don't care about Horde. But we're obviously going to go with the Eben Neverscale belt, so we'll put it on now. Right, we're cooking on gas, people. So next we've got the Emerald Scale Greaves, which are very nice, and the Worm Scale Greaves. I want to talk about both of these together, really. So these both drop in the same place. So they both drop in Heroic Old Hillsbrad Foothills. Can't get my words out. And there was an item earlier that we spoke about in Old Hillsbrad Foothills as well. So you might be spending a lot of time in this place, but well worth it. Lots and lots of Enhancement Shaman gear. So it doesn't matter which way you go with these. Just whichever one you get first. Go do Heroic Old Hillsbrad Foothills. When one of them drops, settle for that. That's it, really. And then the other gets mentioned quite a lot this quest, is the Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings. So just a Blade's Edge mounting quest. It's got some solid rewards, so you might not want to take these because you might want to take something else. But these legs are nice: strength, agility, stamina, hit, expertise. It's got all the things that you want. So these are a solid alternative to, or definitely pick these up before you even start doing Heroic Old Hillsbrad. To be fair, they're there to be taken. Go and take them. So we're gonna obviously go with, well, I say obviously, it doesn't really matter which way we go, but we'll go with the Emerald Scale Greaves. Okay, and then onto the boots. So the boots are actually, you're fairly limited for options outside of dungeons, to be fair. So the first one, so Boots of the Endless Hunt. So these are from Heroic Botanica. These are probably going to be the ones you want to go for ultimately, but again, we have to be realistic. Unless you're really got a good group where you're just smashing Heroic after Heroic, every day till you go into Karazhan, you have to face facts. You might not get these, but hopefully you do. These will be the ones we put on our shaman because they're the ones we're going to want. But then you've got the Outland Striders, which are extremely close, and to get into Karazhan, you could use these just fine. But even the greens, which is just from a quest in Terrakar, they're really, really nice, and I wouldn't think twice about wearing them into Karazhan. You want to go and pick them up while you're leveling because you'll definitely use them for all your heroics anyway. Maybe until you get the ones from Botanica. So we're going to equip on our character Boots of the Endless Hunt, but as I say, any one of these three you could go into Karazhan with just fine. Okay, so rings. I've not actually mentioned a reputation yet, so this will be the one that you should really go and try and get exalted with first. So that's Lower City. The Shapeshifter's Signet. It's got, there's not many items that are out there really in the lower gear levels of expertise on, and you want expertise as an Enhancement Shaman. So really good ring. You'll probably use it for quite a while. The other two, which are both from Eldor, so you need to think carefully about whether you want to be Eldor or Scryers. So if you go Eldor, you can get 2 really good pre-Kara rings straight away from quests. So that's your Overseer Signet and Kaelan Signet. So if you use both of these until you're exalted with Lower City, you're going to be laughing. And then obviously when you go into Kara, you start getting your Violet Eye ring. You'll replace one of the Eldor rings and use Violet Signet, Shapeshifter Signet. So yeah, really, really good. Use any of these 3, whichever the best ones are, you can get the quickest. So I won't even take your pick on here, but just for stat purposes, our character is going to be using Shapeshifter Signet and Overseer Signet. when we see the stats at the end. Now, trinkets are awesome. So for an Enhancement Shaman, Darkmoon Card Crusade is just epic. Well, it is epic. It's purple. But it's really good because it buffs melee and spell power. So, when you're using your shocks, you're stacking your spell damage. When you're meleeing, you're stacking your attack power. So you're doubling down on this trinket. So absolutely amazing. You absolutely want to get this. And then secondly, like I said earlier about what you're going to spend your Badges of Justice on, you're going to spend it on the brooch, obviously. Bloodlust brooch. It gets brought up in every melee DPS video. It's really good. You want to go and get it. But also, Hourglass is amazing. So you're going to want Hourglass as well. I think you'll probably switch these around depending on what sort of fight it is. So try and get all three. But it's not going to matter which we equip out of the three. But for the stats at the end, we'll assume we're using Darkmoon Card Crusade, but with 0 stacks, and Bloodlust Brooch. Then totems. So totems, we're not even going to talk about, again, they're all situational. You want to get them all. There's times when the attack power from Wind Fury is probably going to be the one you use the most. But then, the extra mana cost of Water Shield, that's great when you're running around questing. So, or just grinding, farming, whatever. So you're less downtime. You won't get much downtime in decent gear anyway, but still, it's all going to help. Then mana cost of Storm Strike, again, possibly you might want to use that situationally. And the damage of your shocks, it really... It's situational and it really depends on what you're doing at the time. So really, you want to get all 4 of these. And now weapons. Weapons is good. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the best weapon because we've assumed our guy is level working and engineering. But if you're a clever shaman, you'll go blacksmithing. So the blacksmithing Dragon Maw is amazing. And they're only one hand, so you can make 2 of them. It's going to cost you a decent whack of gold or a lot of time farming to make them, but they're slow, hard hitting. They'll stay relevant because you can upgrade them later on into, I believe it's Dragon Strike. But yeah, they're brilliant. You'll see top Enhancement Shamans, I reckon, rolling around as blacksmith, definitely to begin with anyway. So we're not, unfortunately, on our character at the moment. So we're going to be going with Blade Fist. And then basically any blue offhand is fine. So on here I've put the Harvester of Souls. You definitely want the main hand. If you're not blacksmithing, you definitely want to try and get the the Blade Fist, sorry. But offhand, equip whatever you want. Any of the heroic offhands, as long as it's got the stats that you want, the DPS of them all, because the item level's the same. They're all the same DPS anyway. It's just going to come down to speed, which you're going to obviously pick the slowest one that you can physically find. So we're going to equip Blade Fist and Harvester of Souls, and that's what we'll be using on here. And that's it. That's our shaman done. So all I'm going to do now is just put a brief breakdown of what your stats are going to look like wearing this gear, which they're in a really good place. And you've got to take into consideration that you've got no procs up, so you've not got the haste from Blade Fist, you've not got the attack power and spell power from your Darkmoon card. So, all in all though, awesome set. I've took your set bonuses into account as well and put that on there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it sort of gave you a bit of direction to go in with your Enhancement Shaman. And the next one that I'm going to put out, hopefully tomorrow, could be the next day, depends how busy I am, is going to be Holy Paladin. So make sure you come back for that if you're interested in Paladins. But make sure you like, subscribe. See you on the next one.